Hello, English students. Welcome to your English class number 24, Advanced Level. Open your PowerPoints and go straight to slide number 2, where you're going to find some idioms. So we have here 4. Let's check them. The first one is get something out of your system. Means do the thing you've been wanting to do so you can move on. The second one is give someone the benefit of the doubt. It means trust what someone says. The third one is go back to the drawing board. It means start over. And the last one, it's not rocket science. It means it's not complicated. Alright, so let's go to the subject of today's class. We are going to talk about the FIFA World Cup, so the history of the World Cup. The FIFA World Cup, often simply called the World Cup, is an international association football competition contested by the senior men's national teams, members of Federation Internationale de Football Association, FIFA. The championship happens every 4 years since the inaugural tournament in 1930, except in 1942 and 1943-46 when it was not held because of the Second World War. The World Cup in Qatar 2022 is going to be the World Cup number 22. The first official World Cup was played in Uruguay in 1930, having the host nation as champions. Since then, it is noticeable that the home team has been overperforming. On 6 occasions, the home team won the competition. Besides, many teams that normally don't have the greatest teams have gone far on the tournament when playing on home ground. For example, Sweden in 1958 reaching the final, and South Korea in 2006 reaching the semifinals. Alright. In the tournament, 32 teams, including the automatically qualifying host nation, compete for the title at venues within the host nation for about a month. So that's basically an explanation. So what is the World Cup and how it works? Let's go to slide number 4, where we're gonna talk about the World Cup in Brazil. Not the one in 2014, the one in 1950. Alright, the first World Cup in Brazil. The first World Cup took place in Uruguay and had the host nation as the first world champions. The second World Cup took place in Italy and also had the host nations as champions. Italy won the following World Cup in 1938 as well, which was held in France. Because of the World War II, the World Cup had not been staged since 1938. The planned World Cups of 1942 and 1946 were both cancelled. Brazil and Germany had been leading bidders to host the 1942 Cup. Since both the 1934 and 1938 tournaments had been held in Europe, football historians generally agree that the 1942 event would most likely have been awarded to a South American host country, which means it would have happened in Brazil. Back then, Brazil wasn't considered the country of soccer, but it was chosen to hold the World Cup because Europe was still suffering the consequences of the war. So FIFA decided to have the tournament in South America, having Brazil as the only candidate country to host the event. I think it was the same thing in 2014, right? Nobody else here wanted to be the host nation. Slide number 5. The English team had recently beaten the rest of Europe for 6-1 in an exhibition match, so they went into the competition as one of the favorites. However, England crumbled after a shock 1-0 defeat by the United States and 1-0 defeat by Spain. Brazil won their first 2 matches with 7-1 against Sweden and 6-1 against Spain, putting them on top of the group with the game left to play against Uruguay. In second and only a point behind, Brazil had scored 23 goals in the tournament and only conceded 4, and so were the strong favorite. On July 16th, before a huge crowd of 199,954 at Maracanã, Brazil, had to draw against Uruguay to win the trophy. After such crushing victories over Spain and Sweden, it looked certain that they would take the title. The home nation went ahead in the second minute of the second half. However, Uruguay equalized and then, with just over 11 minutes left to play, went ahead 2-1. Uruguay was crowned champions for the second time. This defeat is referred as the Maracanazo. Little we knew that it would be much worse on the next World Cup in Brazil. Alright, so slide 6, we're gonna talk about unforgettable teams. Brazil 1970, regarded by most historians and critics as the greatest soccer team of all time. The Brazilian squad that competed in Mexico boasted a slew of legendary players: Pelé, Jairzinho, Tostão, Rivelino, and Carlos Alberto, and won all 6 of its games, en route to becoming the first nation to win 3 World Cups. Hungary, 1954, is the greatest team to never win a World Cup. Gold medal winners in the 1952 Helsinki Olympics, Hungary was unbeaten in 28 games with 24 wins prior to the World Cup, but fell victim to a miraculous comeback in the final against West Germans. It was their only loss in 50 international matches between 1950 and 1956. Netherlands, 1974. Another fantastic team that somehow did not win the World Cup. The Dutch mesmerized fans and opponents. The team was nicknamed the Clockwork Orange. The best team couldn't beat the strong defense of the host nation, Germany, and lost the final 2-1. Slide number 7. Now we're gonna talk about the king, the greatest of all. So some people argue on who was the best soccer player of all times. Argentinians would say Maradona. Germans probably would say Beckenbauer. But the rest of the world would agree that Edson Arantes do Nascimento, known as Pelé, was the best player of all time. In 1958, Pelé was 17 years old and was called up to join the Brazilian squad for the World Cup. The team still had the weight of the loss at home in 1950. The Brazilian national team was trying to play like an European, with a more organized defense, and for the first time had a psychologist as part of the delegation. Pele was supposed to start playing, but he was injured and recovered in the middle of the tournament, having his debut on the game against Soviet Union. He scored 6 goals at the World Cup and helped Brazil to become world champions for the first time. When the final game was over, Pelé burst into tears and was carried on the shoulders by the other players as a hero. Slide number 8. He says about that game, "I couldn't stop thinking about my father, who tried to make it as a footballer but ended his career while playing for Atlético Mineiro due a serious injury. I actually fainted when the game ended." In 1962, the World Cup was held in Chile, and Brazil was champion for the second time. And just like it happened in 1958, Pelé and Garrincha were the protagonists, although Pelé didn't play the final games. In 1966, in England, Brazil didn't even make it to the second round, and this World Cup ended up having the host country as champions. Pelé was once again champion in 1970 in Mexico, which made him the only player in history to have won 3 World Cups as a player. Pelé scored 12 goals in World Cups. The top scorer is the German Miroslav Klose with 16 goals, followed by Ronaldo with 15. In his career, he scored 1,250 goals, 95 playing for the Brazilian national team, 1,091 for Santos, and 64 for the New York Cosmos. He was awarded the prize of Athlete of the Century by FIFA, the Olympic Committee, and by the French newspaper L'Equipe. He even has a museum in his honor. Alright, so slide number 9, we have champions and record breakers. The 21 World Cup tournaments have been won by 8 teams. Brazil have won 5 times, 58, 62, 70, 94, and 2002. And they are the only team that have played in every tournament. The other World Cup winners are Germany, 54, 74, 90, and 2014, and Italy, 34, 38, 82, and 2006, with 4 titles each. Argentina, 78 and 86, Uruguay, 30 and 50, and France, 98 and 2018, with 2 titles each. England, 1966, and Spain, 2010, with 1 title each. 3 persons were champions as players and coaches. Zagallo was a player. Zagallo as player in 58 and 62, and as a coach in 70. Beckenbauer as a player in 74 and coach in 90, and Deschamps as player in 98 and coach in 2018. The record holders of disputed cups are the Mexican Antonio Carvajal and the German Lothar Matthaus, 5 times each. So they disputed 5 World Cups. Side fielder Cafu is the only player in history who have entered the field in 3 cup finals: 1994, 1998, and 2002. Fun fact, not so fun. The top scorer, Miroslav Klose, surpassed Ronaldo while playing against Brazil when Germany humiliated the home team, winning on the same finals, 7-1. Everybody remembers that, right? Okay. Well, last slide, we just have the videos vocabulary. So the videos are short, they're not long videos, especially the first one is just a cartoon, very cute and very tiny. All right, so that's it. There's nothing else to be talked about today. So if you have any questions, any doubts, just make a note and let me know. All right, bye bye people.